28 Google employees were fired after protests against the company's contract with the Israeli government and labor conditions.
The company has fired another 20 employees over a recent protest that would bring to 50 the number of workers fired since last week.
Google says that it has fired 28 of its employees who protested at the company's offices across the country yesterday.
Now, one group says Google has fired an additional 20 workers after protests over the company's cloud computing contract with the Israeli government.
CNBC reports the firings came one day after 9 Google workers were arrested for trespassing at company offices in New York and California.
Amid the conflict in Gaza, a group of Google employees has been protesting the company's billion-dollar contract to provide the Israeli government with cloud computing and AI services.
One of those protests happened outside the Google offices in Sunnyvale. Demonstrators demanding the company cut ties with Israel.
No Tech for Apartheid says that's on top of the 30 already fired, bringing the total number of workers fired now to 50. The group claims some of the workers who were fired were bystanders in a protest. Google says every person fired was involved in what they call disruptive activity.
On April 16, 2024, 9 Google employees were arrested during sit-in protests at the company's offices in New York City and Sunnyvale, California. They were protesting Google's $1.2 billion cloud computing contract with the Israeli government, known as Project Nimbus. The protesters staged sit-ins in various areas, including the workspace of Google Cloud's CEO Thomas Kurian, and refused to leave when asked by security. Their actions disrupted normal business operations, allegedly, leading Google to involve law enforcement. The employees were arrested for trespassing after declining to leave the premises. In the aftermath, Google fired 28 employees involved in the protests, claiming they violated company policies. According to Google, obstructing other employees and blocking access to workspaces were clear breaches of workplace rules. The protesters, part of the No Tech for Apartheid campaign, believed Project Nimbus could contribute to human rights violations against Palestinians. They saw the arrests and firings as retaliation for speaking out against ethical issues tied to the contract.
Police entering the office of the CEO of Google's cloud division to clear employees who had staged a sit-in protest for more than 8 hours. It happened at the Sunnyvale office, close to the company's main headquarters in Silicon Valley. The cops promptly made sure that nothing was recorded. There were vocal protests outside the office as well. Employees who are opposed to Israel's war in Gaza and stand in solidarity with Palestine have one demand: Google must cancel Project Nimbus.
So Project Nimbus is a contract that was signed between Amazon, Google, and the Israeli government. It's very concerning and honestly a bit disturbing that we don't know much about this contract and that we haven't been able to find out many details.
The Intercept recently obtained documents about what's known as Project Nimbus, a $1.2 billion cloud computing contract between Google and Israel. A secretive project to provide advanced artificial intelligence tools to the Israeli government and military. Documents indicate that the new cloud would give Israel capabilities for facial detection, automated image categorization, object tracking, and even sentiment analysis that claims to assess the emotional content of pictures, speech, and writing.
Remember our friend Larry Ellison? Well, here he is, back in the spotlight. In an interview with Gil Tamery, Israel's Channel 10 U.S. reporter, Ellison discusses his unwavering commitment to Israel following his $9 million gift to the Israel Defense Forces. This took place in Beverly Hills on November 6, 2014.
The renewal of the Jewish state is something that I think touches all of us. For 2,000 years, we were a stateless people. And now we have a country of our own, defended by all the brave men and women of the IDF. So anything we can do to support them. We have 2 CEOs at Oracle. One's name is Safra Katz, and she was born in Israel. So again, we love the country of Israel, and we'll do everything we can to support the country of Israel.
It starts with their data centers. In 2021, Oracle poured nearly $320 million into building an underground facility in Jerusalem. On the surface, it's just another data center for banks and healthcare providers, right? But dig deeper, and you'll see it's built for much more, handling AI processing and data storage for, among others, the Israel Defense Forces. And they're not stopping there. Despite growing tensions in the region, Oracle's doubling down with plans for another massive data center in Israel. But infrastructure is just the tip of the iceberg. Oracle is actively working with some of Israel's top defense contractors, like Rafael Advanced Defense Systems. Together, they're building AI-powered tools for military operations. Think advanced targeting systems, surveillance tech, and intelligence platforms. And it gets worse. Oracle's partnership with Anduril Industries takes this military-grade AI to the battlefield, bringing cutting-edge tools to real-world conflict zones. Then there's Larry Ellison himself. In 2017, he donated over $16 million, the largest single gift ever, to the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces. The problem? Oracle's tech isn't just helping businesses or governments function more efficiently. It's actively shaping the way surveillance, control, and conflict are carried out. And when you look at Israel's military operations, controversial to say the least, it's hard not to wonder how much of this is about innovation and how much is about power. And the scariest part? Most people have no idea this is happening.
Critics say a controversial startup poses a new and profound threat to everyone's privacy. The facial recognition software attempts to match people's faces with billions of images scraped off social media websites and shares them with security agencies.
With one click and just a short wait, Clearview AI's founder once showed how easy it is to identify almost anyone. His app providing pictures of individuals without their consent.
It's really our belief that the upside completely outweighs the downside.
Canadian privacy authorities pointedly disagree, labeling Clearview AI a tool of mass surveillance.
They are still collecting information from all over the internet, including the images of Canadians.
Clearview scraped more than 3 billion images from social media and other public web pages, building facial recognition technology ostensibly meant for criminal investigations.
Pretty much every Canadian can expect to be in this database, so millions of Canadians' profiles and images.
U.S. law enforcement is said to be using Clearview to help identify attackers at last month's Capitol Hill riot. Here in Canada, privacy authorities found 48 clients had used the technology. They include police from Vancouver to Toronto and Halifax, plus the RCMP. Even the Rexall pharmacy chain admitted last year an employee tried out the app to identify shoplifters.
Can you tell us, how does Clearview work?
Well, quite simply, Clearview is basically a search engine for faces. So anyone in law enforcement can upload a face to the system and it finds any other publicly available material that matches that particular face.
So how many law enforcement agencies, intelligence agencies are using this tool at the moment?
Yeah, it's over 600 now, and the response has been fantastic.
Are they all 600 paying customers?
No, not all of them are paying. What we do is we give a police agency or a federal agency a free trial, maybe 30 to 60 days. And during their usage, these investigators solve a lot of cases. Then we work with them and figure out how they can go through and procure the product.
So how many paying law enforcement at the moment?
Well, we don't disclose that.
This is Clearview AI. If you haven't heard of them, you're not alone. They like it that way. This company has quietly built one of the most invasive surveillance tools in human history. And they've done it by scraping over 30 billion images from the internet. Your social media accounts, your profile pictures, your posts, all without your consent. Think about that for a second. Your face, your identity, harvested and stored in their database to be sold to the highest bidder. Governments, law enforcement agencies, even private companies, they're all lining up to use Clearview's technology. In the Netherlands, Clearview AI was hit with a massive fine, 30.5 million euros, for creating what regulators called an illegal database. That's right, illegal. The Dutch government didn't just fine them, they outright banned Dutch organizations from using their service. calling it a violation of privacy laws. And that's not the only legal trouble they've faced. In Illinois, Clearview settled a lawsuit for over $50 million for violating the state's privacy laws. Why? Because they collected and sold people's facial images without their consent. Sound familiar? And yet, despite all of this, law enforcement agencies are still using Clearview. The New York Police Department was caught using their tools, and even more concerning, some officers used it without authorization. In one case, an officer had to resign after being busted for using Clearview without permission. This isn't just about technology, it's about the erosion of civil liberties, one face scan at a time. Clearview. AI's reach doesn't stop in the US either. They're expanding globally into regions like Latin America, where regulatory oversight is even weaker. Imagine the consequences of this technology in the hands of authoritarian regimes or corrupt governments. And yet, the company marches forward, marketing their tools as a way to keep us safe. But here's the truth. Clearview AI isn't about safety. It's about power. It's about control. It's about turning your identity, your face, into a commodity they can profit from. They're just getting started. This is happening right now. Clearview AI is paving the way for a world where privacy is a thing of the past, where your every move is tracked, recorded, and stored by companies who care more about profit than people. And unless we hold them accountable, this future will become our reality. Because if we don't stop companies like Clearview now, the line between safety and surveillance will disappear, and so will our freedom.